Today, we're jumping into one of the absolute wildest stories in Hindu mythology. We're talking about the Kurma Avatar, a giant cosmic tortoise who, and I mean this literally, became the foundation for the entire universe.
So, let's get right to it. The big question is this: how in the world did a giant tortoise end up saving the gods from, well, losing their power and their immortality forever? It sounds completely out there, I know, but trust me, the answer is at the heart of an incredible cosmic event. Okay, first things first, let's get the main character straight. Kurma. It's the Sanskrit word for tortoise or turtle. And this isn't just any tortoise. This is the second major avatar of the god Vishnu, the preserver of the universe. And believe me, this specific form was absolutely critical. All right, so where does all this trouble begin? Every huge crisis has a starting point, right? And for the gods, their epic downfall didn't start with some big war. Nope. It all started with one single careless mistake that led to a curse that would change everything.
And you can see here just how fast things weren't wrong. It all starts with a nice gesture, right? The powerful sage Durvasa gives a sacred garland to Indra, the king of the gods. But Indra, oh boy. In a moment of pure arrogance, he just kind of tosses it onto his elephant. The elephant, not having it, throws it on the ground. For a sage like Durvasa, this was the biggest insult imaginable. So, completely enraged, he just drops this massive curse on them. All the gods would lose their strength, their glory, and even their immortality. And boom, the fallout is immediate. You can see the power dynamic just completely flip. The devas, the gods, are suddenly weak, powerless, and for the first time, they're facing the idea of actually dying. And on the other side, their eternal rivals, the asuras, the demons, are suddenly on top, stronger than ever. The whole cosmic order is just thrown into total chaos. So, the gods are backed into a corner. They're defeated, they're desperate, and they do what you do in that situation. They go to Lord Vishnu for help. And Vishnu's plan, well, it's huge, it's dangerous, and it's going to require them to team up with their worst enemies. It was time for something called the Great Ocean Churn. And when I say great, I mean it. This wasn't some small project. Look at this cosmic recipe. The plan was to churn the entire ocean of milk. To do it, they needed a whole mountain, Mount Mandara, to act as the churning rod. And for a rope? How about Vasuki, the Serpent King? And what were they trying to make? Amrita, the nectar of immortality. That was the prize. Here's the catch, though. The gods were way too weak to pull this off by themselves, so they had to make a deal with the devil, so to speak. They went to the asuras and forged this very fragile truce. The deal was, let's work together and we'll split the nectar. You can just feel the tension in that agreement, can't you? The whole universe is riding on this. Okay, so they have a plan, they've got the tools, they've even got this shaky alliance. The churning gets underway, but almost immediately they run into a massive, catastrophic problem. One that could end the whole thing right then and there. Just try to imagine this for a second. You've got this gigantic mountain in the middle of a cosmic ocean. You've got a Serpent King wrapped around it like a rope. On one side, the gods are pulling the tail. On the other, the demons are pulling the head. Back and forth, putting everything they have into churning this massive sea. It all seems to be working, right? But they missed something. A huge flaw in the plan. I mean, think about it. What happens when your main tool, this giant mountain, doesn't have anything to stand on? And that's exactly what happened. The sheer weight of that mountain, plus all the force of them pulling back and forth, it was just too much. The mountain started sinking into the soft ocean floor. Their one and only hope was literally disappearing into the deep. It's such a powerful image, right? This massive effort just falling apart because it had no foundation. So the plan is sinking, all hope seems lost. And then, a divine intervention. This was the exact moment our hero was waiting for. Time for Vishnu's second avatar to step onto the stage. Seeing everyone in total panic, gods and demons alike, Vishnu knew he had to do something. So he descended, and he took on the form of Kurma, a gigantic, incredibly strong, and completely immovable tortoise. So Kurma dives deep, right down into the cosmic ocean, gets right under that sinking mountain, and just lifts it up onto his huge rock-solid shell. Just like that, the mountain is completely stable. He became the unshakable foundation they needed. the churning could start again. I mean, that is the very definition of stability.
All right, with Kurma holding everything steady, the churning kicks back into high gear, even stronger than before. And as they churn and churn, amazing and powerful things start rising up from the ocean. These are the Ratnas, or the cosmic treasures.
This gives you a good idea of what came out. But look closely. The very first thing that surfaced wasn't a prize. It was a terrifying poison called halahala, a poison that could have wiped out the entire universe. After that crisis, the good stuff started to appear. Kamadhenu, the wish-granting cow, Airavata, the celestial elephant, the goddess Lakshmi herself, and finally, Dhanvantari, carrying the pot of Amrita.
But wait, we can't just gloss over that poison part. It was a universe-ending threat. And to save everyone, Lord Shiva did something incredible. He stepped up and drank the halahala. He held it in his throat, and it was so potent, it stained his throat blue forever. That's how he got the name, Nilakanta, the blue-throated one. An amazing act of sacrifice that saved everything.
So, the nectar is finally here. And of course, the truce is instantly over. The asuras grab the pot and are about to take off with it. But Vishnu has one more trick up his sleeve. He transforms into Mohini, an unbelievably enchanting woman. The asuras are completely mesmerized by her, and while they're all distracted, she cleverly hands out the nectar, but only to the gods.
And there you have it, the final score. The devas drink the nectar, their power is 100% restored. Immortality back on. The asuras, on the other hand, are defeated. The balance of power in the universe is back to where it should be.
So, okay, the gods got their power back. End of story, right? Not quite. Because this story, the story of Kurma, is about way more than just a big cosmic fight. It's a really powerful metaphor for things like stability, support, and even inner strength.
When you really dig into it, Kurma stands for some pretty deep ideas. First, and most obviously, stability and steadfastness. The tortoise was that firm foundation when everything else was sinking. It also represents support, right? Vishnu taking on this massive burden to save everyone. And there's another layer. Think about how a tortoise pulls its head and limbs into its shell. It's a symbol for withdrawing our senses from all the noise of the outside world, to find that quiet, focused place inside ourselves.
And that's really the big takeaway, isn't it? The story kind of pushes us to look at our own lives. When things get chaotic, when it feels like your world is sinking a little bit, what's your unshakable foundation? What's the thing that gives you stability and helps you keep going? It's a really powerful question to think about.